Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today, Fountain Pen Showdown Day. Going to take a look at these two pens. We've got the Kaweco Sport and we've got the Dlike Alpha Copper. Very similar in terms of shape outly and very similar in terms of size. Weight, very, very different. So join me now down on the table. We'll take a look at the pens. We'll compare them against each other. We'll do some size comparisons, some weights and measures, a writing sample. Then I'll give you my thoughts and my scores for these pens. Welcome down to the table. So today's two pens, we've got the Delike Alpha Travel Pen All Copper Steel Medium. Bit of a mouthful that. And we've got the Kaweco Classic Sport Green Broad. Another fairly long name. Henceforth, the Delike and either the Kaweco or the Sport. In this initial view, yes, I know the writing is upside down. Let me turn it around just so you can see it. So on here, we've got on the caps, we've got War and Peace on the Delike, and we've got Kaweco Sport on, strangely enough, the Kaweco Sport. Let's start by taking a walk through the bodies. So I've put them around what I consider to be the correct way. Your mileage may vary. Not going to do a detailed walk through the pens, more looking at similarities and differences. First difference, size. The Delike is a little bit longer. We'll look at that when we do our weights and measures. In terms of the caps look very similar. So we've got a rounded end at the top, then we're coming down into these facets. The facets, to my eye, seem to be a little bit wider here on the Delike than they are on the Sport. The top of the caps, as you can see here, let me hold them both together. So we've got there a Kaweco logo on the Sport and just a flat semi-domed there on the Delike. The caps look to be roughly the same length, and then both of them are coming down. With the Delike, it's a fairly sharp drop, so we come off the facet and straight down. With the Sport, we've got a gentle taper down to the body. The bodies are both round. The Delike, the body does seem a little bit wider than what I'm seeing with the Sport. Again, let's see what comes out in the weights and measures. Taking the caps off. So with the Delike, it's half, one, about 1.5 turns. And with the Sport, it's half, one, just over 1 turn. So easier to get into that Sport, but we're only talking about half a turn. Let's take a closer look at the nibs. Given these are pocket pens, they are both small nibs. On the Delike, steel nib, we've got a little decorative border. Underneath the breather hole, we've got Delike, then super quality. Wow, super quality. That's what we like to hear, isn't it? Now this was advertised as a bent nib, and if we can look closely, there's a teeny tiny little bit of a bend up there at the end of the tip. I've got to be honest, you hardly notice it. And with the Sport, here we've got a steel Kaweco nib. It's dull coloured, got a border, we've got the Kaweco logo, and here we've got a B for broad, because this is, strangely enough, a broad nib. Let's take a look inside the bodies. So with here, we've got a converter there, a cartridge converter. With the Sport, we use a cartridge that I refill. You can get a converter, you have to pay for the converter separately with the Sport. It's very small, does not hold a lot of ink. I find it next to useless. One of the things I do find though is that sometimes these cartridges can come loose inside the body. With my other Kaweco Sport, which is slightly translucent, what I've done is I've put plenty of silicone grease around the threads, and I actually eyedropper it. I like it eyedroppered. Let's swap over and do some size comparisons. Starting off with my two standard pens, the Pilot Metropolitan and the Lamy Safari. These two pens we're looking at today, they're pocket pens. You expect them to be shorter. As I say, the Delike slightly longer and slightly wider than the Sport. Let's take the caps off and look at these as I would use them to write with. With today's two pens, I use them both posted because they are pocket pens. Now that they're posted, the writing, it's on the correct way. In the hand, we'll start with a Dlike. It's quite nice. It's very, very heavy feeling. Feels quite back heavy. If I take off the cap, it's just about usable, but I find it very uncomfortable to use without that posting on. But once it's posted, it's not too bad. Let's just pop that on. With the Sport, a lot lighter. We're talking the difference between a metal pen and a plastic pen. Again, posted, very comfortable, very nice. Unposted, definitely too small. I can manage it for maybe a sentence, but anything more than that, I need to just quickly pop that top on. So let's put the cap on there as well. Let's swap on over and fetch in some pens in roughly the same price range. The pens I brought in, I've got a Pen BBS 308, 27 Aussie dollars. The Delike, 28 Aussie dollars. The Kaweco Sport, they're now about 60 Aussie dollars. And the TWSBI Eco, that's approximately 59 Aussie dollars. So very similar in terms of price. And even here we can see when they're posted, they're really nice to use. Let's swap over and fetch in the rule of measuring. Here we've got the rule of measuring, so we're starting with the Delike. 11.2 with a full pen. Unposted, that comes in, I measured it about 10.7, and then posted, that comes in about 13.7. The width of the body is 1.1 centimetre, the width of the cap 1.3 centimetres, and the section, it's near enough, it's the same width all the way up, and I measured that at 0.97 centimetres. With the Sport, so the full pen, that comes in at 10.5 centimetres, so about 7 millimetres. Not a big difference, is it? But it is noticeable. Unposted, 10.1, so again, about 7 millimetres difference. And then posted, about 13.3, so there we're looking at about 5 millimetres difference. The width of the body I measured in at 1.06. I use a pair of calipers to measure these. The width of the cap 1.34, and the section, I measured the narrowest part here at 0.95 and the widest here going up to 0.98, which is the same at both ends. So not much difference from that Delike pen. Let's get this out of the way and fetch in the scales of weighing. Here's the scales of weighing. Let's start with the Delike. The full pen, 48.4 grams. The body by itself, let me just use this to stop it from rolling. There we're looking at about 30.5 grams. And the cap, that one wants to roll as well. There we go, about 18 grams. With the Sport, full pen, 10 grams. That's lighter than just the cap on the other one. Body by itself, about 5.8 grams, and the cap, that's about 4.4 grams. Noticeably lighter. Let's get this out of the way and fetch in the notepad of testing. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Here we've got the notepad of testing. This is a Rhodia A5 notepad, and this is just plain white paper. Just turning that around, we'll start with the Delike. Let me move that up so I don't accidentally scribble on the next page. So we've got here a Delike, and I have to try and remember that to do without the E. Alpha, and it said the nib is a bent. It's hardly there. It's very hard to see that. Price wise, you're looking about 28 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine, and because it's a copper pen, ancient copper. Sorry, no, it's not. It's vintage copper. I don't know, too many copper inks. Vintage copper. This is a shimmer ink. Don't think we're going to see any shimmer coming through though. I have been agitating this to make sure that we've got into suspension. Line variation. So there's going down with no pressure. Now I'm going to add a bit of pressure. Not seeing much of a difference. Because this is meant to be bent, let's try here. Very, very scratchy. There you go. And let's try really low. Not seeing any difference there. Let's try that again going across. So here's vertical. Here's really low. And here's how I would normally hold it. So not a lot of difference coming through. No pressure, with a bit, none, and with. Drying times, so we go immediate. 10 seconds. Wow, look at that. Pointless doing any further. We're dry there at 10 seconds. Going to move the mic down to the page so you can hear the pen write. Let's just move the page up a little bit as well. That's nice. We've got a nice little bit of feedback. The pen does feel back heavy. The weight doesn't feel as if it's equally distributed throughout the pen. Final test, just to show I can do it. Without the cap on, there's my scribble. And then go in the other direction. It's quite enjoyable. It's quite nice. I say, it's just the balance that feels a bit odd. With the Sport. So we've got here a Kaweco Sport. This has got a broad nib. Price wise, as we've said, roughly 60 Aussie dollars. The ink, Diamine, and it's Spruce. Now this is a scented ink. It is a fairly wet ink. It's also a sheener. So let's see if any sheen does come through. Line variation, so no pressure. Add a bit of pressure. We are seeing a slightly wider line there. The nib does feel softer. So none with, none with, none and with. Let's move it up. Drying times. So immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. One minute. After a minute, teeny tiny smudge there, so near enough dry. This is a scented ink and I do find they tend to be fairly wet. We'll move the mic down to the page so you can hear the pen write. In terms of audible, that to me is slightly louder than the Dlike, and it's got a little bit of a, I don't want to say a whistle, a little bit of a, like a sing-song behind it as well. Final test. So I'll do this one unposted as well, and then we're going backwards. Again, it's a nice pen. Let me see, can we see any of that sheen coming through? Yep, I certainly can. We'll look really on the first couple of words, so Kaweco Sport and Diamine Spruce, because they've had time to dry. Got a lot coming through on the word Kaweco, and on Diamine, and on Spruce. Yeah, we've got plenty coming through all over the place. Not sure if the camera's able to pick that up. Just trying to get this in different orientations to try and give the best chance. So what are my thoughts and my scores for these pens? Two nice pens. You can see that the Dlike is heavily, very, very heavily inspired by the Sport. Let's not mince words. It is not so much of a copy, but certainly very heavily inspired by. Let's start with pen looks. So the looks, I really like the look of this copper one. It's nice, it's attractive, it looks warm. Although it's a metal pen, maybe it's in my head, but it feels warm when I'm holding it. The green of the Sport, yeah, it's alright, it's nice. I like my green pens. But it doesn't look anything special. Whereas when you see it with the Delike jumps out at me. Delike, 9 out of 10. And the Sport, 8 out of 10. Build quality, no issues with either of them. Say with the cartridge, I do sometimes find they come loose, which in a pocket pen, which is designed to be in your pocket being jostled around, is something to be aware of. The Delike, I've had it a while now, but not really enough to 100% say it's excellent build quality, but what I've seen, it's good, it's really solid. So build quality, 8 out of 10 for both of them. Writing experience, both are nice. They've both got a nice little bit of feedback to it. Bit disappointed here with the fact that it says it's a bent nib, and it doesn't look like that to me. It's such a tiny bend on it that it's really not worth even saying it's a bent nib. The Sport, very comfortable, very nice, easy to use. Both of those, 8 out of 10. Ink flow, well, we've seen here, both of them got really nice ink flow. The Delike, slightly drier, which in a pocket pen is actually a good thing, because the idea is you're writing notes on the go. With the Sport, absolutely beautiful, flows well. No matter what ink I've put in it, I've never had any issues. Both of those, 8 out of 10. Comfort, the Delike is a heavy pen, and it would get a better score because I do like heavy pens, but to me it doesn't feel balanced. It's back heavy when it's posted. I would have liked to have that where it's spread out more evenly across the whole of the pen. The Kaweco Sport, it's very light. In a pocket pen, you want lightness, don't you? The idea is it's going to sit in your pocket, so you want something which isn't going to wear you down. Both of those, 8 out of 10. Value for money. Good one, isn't it? I always struggle with this one. Two different price points, haven't we? We've got $28 and we've got $60. Chinese-made pen, German-made pen. Very hard to compare them against each other, so I don't do that. What I'm comparing is thinking for a $28 pen, how does that compare with other $28 pens? And then same with the Sport. And both of them, I think, when you compare them to other pens in the price range, they're very similar. You know, they're both good value, good solid pens. Both fit a specific niche, a specific need in my pen use. So I'm going to give them value for money. I think they're both good solid pens, good performers. Give them both an 8 out of 10. So that means the total score for the Delike Alpha with Diamine Vintage Copper is 8.17 out of 10. And the Kaweco Sport with Diamine Spruce is 8 out of 10. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. So what are your thoughts on these pens? Got either of them? Have you got both of them? Definitely, it's the weight which is the biggest difference to me. Please drop your comments down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.